so the first story we're taking today is what an amazing pastor Tunde Bakare actually said about our president. Well, he said a lot of things, and we'll listen to the video. But let me just, give a short talk on it. The former president aspirant of the All Progressive Congress, ABC, Tunde Bakare, has decried the relationship between the executive and legislative arm of government of the President Bola Tinubu, asking the Nigerian leader to stop playing God. Now, Bakare, the serving overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church, issued the warning in his State of the Nation address delivered in the Lagos auditorium of his church on Sunday. He raised the alarm over the state of affairs in the country, saying Nigeria is staring in the wrong direction. So let's hear from Pastor Tunde Bakare himself. I'll be right back to the studio to continue the program with Chris and, of course, my co-host Patricia. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Fellow citizens, at the center of this political banditry is the motor park brand of politics, nurtured by the old brigade politicians, and in recent times by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Mr. President, it is through your influence that the Nigerian National Assembly has become a haven for legislative rascality. Mr. President, it's under your watch that the National Assembly has become an extension of the executive, grossly violating the principles of separation of powers and rubber stamping the whims and caprices of your office, all while singing the international anthem of sycophants on your mandate, which shall stand. Mr. President, thanks to your political machinations, Nigeria is now deviled by a captured National Assembly, the most ineffective in checks and balances role since the start of the Fourth Republic. In 2006, the Fourth National Assembly had the audacity to reject the tenure exemption bill of the sitting president. In 2010, the Sixth National Assembly summoned the courage to stand against the power hijacking cabal and restore Nigeria to the path of constitutionality by invoking the doctrine of necessity. In 2011, the House of Representatives of the Seventh National Assembly had the courage to elect its leaders, as did the Senate of the Eighth National Assembly in 2015, defying executive interference. This National Assembly, the 10th, has by its unconstant endorsement of the president's abuse of powers proven to be the most spineless in our recent history. Through its actions and inactions, the National Assembly has in effect become the 48th member of the president's cabinet.
Welcome back. Yes, we could not play the whole video, but we want to talk about the part where he said the president is playing God, of course, and the part where he said his politics is more like a motor park kind of politics. So, Chris, what do you say about that? Do you buy into the idea or whatever he's trying to point out? Do you think that's true?
All right. Let me look at the Pastor Tunde Bakare. Now, Pastor Tunde Bakare as a pastor, for me, is impeccable. I've been following him way back 92, and then he's been a man of total integrity. You can't doubt, and then he's a very straightforward person. I mean, he speaks the truth. I mean, his TV telecast tells his moment of truth, and it is known for his integrity, standing by righteousness. I have absolute respect for him as a pastor. Now, and there's another side of him. That's Pastor Tunde Bakare as a politician.
Yeah.
Now, as much I love him, as much as I respect and adore him, he's a mega successful pastor, but he's a failed politician. He's a failed politician. Yeah, that's hard to say, but it's the truth. Now, in this space, so in his address, was he speaking as a pastor or as a politician? Fundamentally, as a man, he has a right to air his opinion. He has a right to air his opinion either as a pastor or as a politician. The fact that he's human and he's a Nigerian, he has a right to speak his mind. And then looking at the detail of the address, he spoke hard truth. to hit on the government, which cannot be denied. And then he also acknowledged some of the right doings of the government, okay, which is, for me, is balanced and is objective. But of course, the way our media is tilted and the society is guided, it is the bad report that makes the trend that, that people buy into, run with and all of that. But I thought it was balanced in his address, but just that people tend to focus more on the part where he hits on the government. Now, coming to say that the president runs a motor park kind of presidency, whatever, I do not necessarily agree with it.
Sorry, he didn't say motor park presidency. He said motor park politics.
Well, politics, yeah, because the man involved is running the presidency. So whatever politics is playing is from the stand of presidency, all right? Okay. So that's what it is. It's like saying 2 equals to 4. In mathematics, 4 equals to 2. All right, that's it. So so that's how it is. Now, I do not necessarily agree with that.
Okay, you don't. I'm sorry.
There's some elements.
I'm sorry to cut you. We have a commercial break. I'm so sorry. We'll come back to that, obviously. Let's quickly go for a commercial break. And right after this commercial break, we'll be right back to continue the analysis. We'll get it from Chris. Stay with us. Take it away. Back, you're still watching The Buzz. That was quite a very long commercial, but well, you're welcome back. Yes, we're talking about Pastor Tunde Bakare, and we had Chris saying something, and of course you can still be part of the show. You can bring it, you can keep calling, and of course pretty soon we'll be picking calls and be reading messages. But before I go over to Chris, let me just say this: Don Jazzy, keep up the good work, because of recently he gave out $5,000 and $3,000 to 2 young men, and even an iPhone 16. Wow, that's a whole lot. And also, Tunde Odukoye actually won another chess marathon. Congratulations to you.
Broke the record again.
Yes. Broke the record again. Because why? They did not allow him to enjoy the celebration of the record he broke the last time. Somebody else came out and broke it. So he had to go further to break it now. So a big congratulations.
That's a Nigerian attitude.
We never give up. We just have to be the best at what we do. Anyways, let's go back to what we're talking about. You're about to say something.
Yeah, I was trying to respond to the motor park politics and Pastor highly revered Pastor Tunde Bakare, tagged on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now let me say this: in Nigeria political space, if you are not strong as a president, the brutal opposition system will take you for a meal. Yeah, when we came back democracy in 1999, OBJ militarized our presidency, our democracy. So it gave that presidential macho look, where as a president you can bulldoze and do all of that. On one hand, it will have achieved a whole lot with that, if it was not vendetta in his approach. All right. But let's come to a PMB. Some of us thought PMB would come on board Buhari to be that kind of, benevolent tyrant in power, so to speak. But it came in soft. When it came soft, and then we saw a National Assembly that took him for granted, and then that undermined his government, and the nation suffered brutally because it was soft. Now, our good Lord Jonathan too is also seen probably as the softest, maybe in the same league with Shagari, all right, as the softest president we've ever heard, and then he also suffered for that. I remember the time we did a Google search of the most abused president in the world, and his name would just pop up, Jonathan. All right, he was called a Kingadati president, even while he was on seats and all of that, and a whole lot happened. But at some point, he had to put his feet on the ground. When the opposition was overwhelming him, he became very strong as a president too. And then just that people don't like talk about it. It was at his instance that a coup was attempted to remove the Tambua as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That Baja needed to, jump the gates, and the others went in to abort that coup. That was Jonathan. It was Jonathan that put Nyako out of office, impeached him in a very rough manner that the court was angry. That how could this happen in a democracy? Nyako had to run out of office, even as sitting governor. You understand? Eventually the court brought him back. It was Jonathan, that burst into the office of APC then as opposition, took their stuff away illegally and all of that. It was Jonathan that fought Amici as governor. It was Jonathan that supported 5 House members as against 27. 5 became greater than 27. in then Rivers House of Assembly. It was dirty. Amechi was reduced as sitting governor to nothing. All right. Even as a governor forum chairman, they did an election. Amechi won the election because it was not candidate, was not Jonathan candidate. Because that pulled down the whole thing and all of that. At that point, he became strong as a conventional Nigerian president. So what I'm trying to say is this: if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not strong as a president, by now the opposition will have, reduced him to tatters. That's the nature of our brutal politics. So if you are going to just be a nice guy out there and then want to play gentleman politics, you'll be out in the next 5 minutes because opposition are not playing. Because they don't even think about the next generation. All they think about is the next election. For those in power, for those that want to grab power, that's how it goes. So you've got to be strong, to keep your stand. And then now being strong does not mean to be brutal. All right. Being strong does also mean to be nice, because even God is not nice. God is good. God is not nice. So if you go to politics and you play being nice, you'll be dead in the next minute.
Well, I want to ask, why do you call Pastor Tunde a failed politician?
Because he failed as a politician.
Why do you say that?
Okay, for example, he went in to be president. He contested the APC presidential primary with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the APC, and he got 0. As in, no one vote. While the president got over 1,000 votes and others like that. So for me, that is the height of not being popular within your party setting. As in, he's a major, there are 2 major blocks that form the APC, the CPC and the ACN. All right. So he's from the CPC block. Don't forget, before the election, he ran as vice president to President Muhammadu Buhari. So you assume his influence and his, to pull crowd and all of that. But he threw his heart into the ring and he went into that contest with thousands of votes up for grab, and he got 0. That for me.
Okay, bring it
but
back
I'm not trying to be insensitive to the man of God or to him. But as a politician, he failed.
I'm going to bring it back to his speech.
Okay.
You're saying he failed because
as a politician.
As a politician, he got 0.
There are other
votes,
instances.
0 votes.
There are other instances.
We're talking about this one that you had just said.
No, just to justify my dad's card as a failed politician, because he was vice president, all right, for General Muhammadu Buhari,
yes.
In the 2011 election. He could not even galvanize votes from the Southwest. Jonathan overran the Southwest. That would have been Nigerian politics. You understand? There's regional play in Nigerian politics. You understand? When you come up, your region should rally around you. But you could not muster that strength. I could not even muster the church. The church could not run with him. You understand? The church could not run with him.
Let me ask you the question I wanted to ask. Okay, you have just said it all, that he failed as a politician. Good. Does that mean that his speech or what he said is wrong?
No, at the beginning I thought it was balanced. Because he hit hard on the president. He's known for hard criticism. And that's good for the nation. It's good for us. What he said, we can't throw them all away. He spoke truth. Hard truth. He's known for that. You understand? So like I said, he also said some good stuff about the president. Okay. But just that people now focus more on the negative ones.
Listen, give me 1 minute. Okay. So I can quickly ask him this question. Okay. So do you think, he also mentioned that the National Assembly has been captured. Do you think this statement is right? Is the National Assembly actually captured?
All right. Fundamentally, the 3 arms of government, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, they work in such a way that they do check on one another. Now, people, because of that fundamental definition of the 3 arms of government, now people expect the National Assembly to be hostile towards the executive. So when you see a National Assembly that is hostile, you think, yeah, they are doing their job. But not necessarily so. Now, the National Assembly is not necessarily meant to be hostile. They are there to walk along because they are all there to make sure the governance is delivered. Good governance is delivered. So there is nothing wrong in them finding the cohesion and working together for the progress of the nation. But it only becomes bad if they are meant to reject certain things and then they still go that way. Then we can conclude that they are mere rubber stamp. But if they're having a good cordial relationship, does not mean they are rubber stamp. Okay. Now, for example, if you say they are rubber stamp, the reform bill, the tax reform bill, was one in the heart of the president, as it was one that the president wanted to push at all costs. But we saw the resistance in the National Assembly. Even till now, it's not seen the light of the day. It has dragged for months now. Okay. So that a rubber stamp assembly will not do that, because that is one major policy that Mr. President wanted to push. As we speak till now, It's not on the table.
Taking us to the declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State.
Okay.
Do you think the National Assembly handled it the way it should have been?
No, there are two sides to that. The first thing is the National Assembly saved the nation by corroborating what the president did with the state of emergency rule, by saving the nation's economy. All right, because we're seeing a huge threat going that way, and Nigeria would not have been able to survive it. Now, on the other side of it was that the manner the vote was conducted. It should have been head count, and they used voice voting. That for me was not professional enough. Okay. All right, but principally, agreeing with the president on that, for me, I thought was doing the nation good by saving the nation of the economy threat that was already up there. I mean, pipelines were already going off. We've seen threats of such to be done. Okay.